Hello everyone, welcome to a new open house, and we are going to check out the Red Rocket rebuild. So what do you say we get to it? This one is the long-awaited Red Rocket rebuild, which I've actually tried to record 3 different times, and for some reason it keeps crashing on me in weird spots. So I'm going to try and get through this somehow, and I might have to chop it up and figure out a way to do it. Now initially, to start, I wanted to surround the property with walls, and however I wanted it to be a little more interesting rather than just say throwing down the covenant walls and surrounding the area, which I'm always so tempted to do because I love using those walls. But I knew I wanted to do something different, something with a little more texture, a little more unique, and a little more lore friendly. So I opted for kind of a combination of the junk fences, Commonwealth littered junk built into walls with tires and wood and, chain link fencing. So using some of that, and then also using the large hedges just to break up the junk wall area. And you see the little tire turrets here. I feel like it keeps the turrets a little more interesting than just plopping them down and that's it.
That never gets old.
Here we have another little guard post. Just adding this in, I had the space, thought might be a good idea to add one in here. It's a good little overhang to see, who's coming. So once again, not heavily fortified, but there are, guard posts and things here and there if you need it. So the entire property is surrounded by this fencing, and it kind of closes it in. Essentially, I didn't build these walls to keep people out necessarily. Well, maybe ghouls, so they don't attack you in the middle of the night, but I just like to enclose my property. Okay, as you come in, it looks somewhat familiar, but not quite. I did twist and rotate the Red Rocket a bit. I just wanted to change the location just to make it seem different. And as you can see down here, I also added this smaller part of Red Rocket onto the main Red Rocket. So in a way, it allowed me to give the appearance of a large Red Rocket. And I wanted to do a combination of pre-war and post-war, and all this closed in junk wall and plywood, timbers, tires, cinder block walls, all that stuff. Definitely keeps with the Fallout lore of the post-war, and also gives the illusion that this is a post-war settlement here as you come in. And before I forget, as you come in, you see the little tire turrets here. I just thought it looked kind of cool like that. And pretty simple to build, just the combination of the turret and the rubber dirt tire there. And as you come in through this gate area here, which is more junk wall and some tarps or whatnot to enclose this overhang here, Red Rocket. I closed in this covered area, and if you're watching the build series on this, you'll know that I wanted to create like a work area under there. This is the work area, and here's a nice little storage area, mainly to cover up this gas pump thing. And this thing is always in my way. I'm always irritated with this thing hanging down. I never found the use or need for this hanging down right in my way, and I really wish I could scrap that, but unfortunately this Red Rocket is one entire scrap. So I put this here to basically cover that up. For the most part, it's just storage. But I also wanted to create the illusion that this was just an old junky settlement. Maybe something most people would overlook, but where you have some workbenches and also the area to store extra wood, extra metal, extra supplies, things you scavenge and bring back. And I wanted to do that, I thought it'd be a cool work area underneath this overhang here, which would work rain or shine, day or night. Work on your projects under here. So that was the idea with that. And once again, it is, still looks like old rundown Red Rocket look, as opposed to the inside, which is very pre-war, which is an odd combination. There's no explanation for it other than I like doing that in some of my builds. No realistic rhyme or reason behind that other than I just like to make the living areas a little nicer. Why don't we go inside and check that out real quick. Sliding door there, and I don't even know what door that is, but I like that better than the Red Rocket door, mainly because it closes it off completely. I like the way it slides open too. So as you come through the entrance here, we've got this long kind of galley style kitchen here, which I think fits well in this hallway, because I wasn't sure where I was going to have the kitchen. I was thinking it's going to have it in the back there, but I wanted that to be more of the living area. So I decided to put the long kitchen here in the hallway. Not a whole lot of great kitchen options with PS4 mods, but kind of make do with a combination of these kitchen pieces and then using some of the nice wood desktop for countertops to kind of clean it up a bit, and then adding in objects here and there just to make it look like it has a little more storage and things you would need or use in a kitchen. And just off the kitchen, it leads right into the main living area where you would have your entertainment center and of course a arcade game. Got to have that, right? And just a hangout area, which is very dark. This whole build is more of a lounge nightclub vibe to it, I guess. I wanted to keep it more cozy dark, I guess you would say, with the lower lighting and some of the colored lighting. So that's the living area here. We got this couch with the built-in back area where you could maybe eat or place your drinks or whatever. And that kind of ties in well, I think, with the couch as the back of the couch, but also in a way divides the room too. So it worked out pretty good. And just down off the living area and down this short little hall section here, we come to the bathroom. I think the bathroom turned out really well, and that was something I wanted to try and make a little different. Definitely a pre-war style bathroom. Normal base shower, of course, but this sink area here, wanted to try and cover up that faded yellow color that is on this little sink thing. And by using some of the Creation Club Neon Apartment DLC thing, I wanted to use some of those furniture pieces just because I like the texture and I like that it's black or somewhat a darker color, which kind of fits with the theme of the rest of the place. So by using those textures and those pieces of furniture set in this sink gives it a whole new look now. Like it's actually a built-in sink that's made to look like that. So I like the way that turned out, and I think I'll definitely be using that again in the future. But as we come out of the bathroom here, we will go right into the little bedroom area. This is pretty simple, just a bed. And then just off the bed is a little TV there for your bedroom, but also like the main closet area, which is an open closet, but I don't think you need much more in this small of an area. I also wanted to keep this with a darker vibe, which is why I kind of picked this style wallpaper. Not a whole lot of options wallpaper wise, but I thought this one worked the best, and still it kept it in the realms of the whole dark vibe of this whole interior. So pretty simple bedroom. As we come back out, we'll come back past the main living area and down through the kitchen off to this side door here, which leads into the main workshop area, which has the computers and weapons. And you probably recognize the layout. This used to be the garage of the main Red Rocket. Initially, I was going to make like a garage to work on power armor and things like that, but I figured I wanted to close this in. I wanted to close off this garage door and turn this into more of a separate room, and that eventually turned into this workshop area that has the computer security desk, a weapons workbench area, even a armor work area, and just an average table to work on whatever fix-it projects you need, or DIY projects you got going here at Red Rocket. You can work here in the workshop. So that's what I was going with this. And like I said, it has a workable workbench for weapons and a lot of storage for your weapons and whatnot. And I think this also turned out pretty good. This is pretty much the living area interior here of Red Rocket. We'll head back out, and as we head out, we'll go down and into this other side area of Red Rocket, which is the Red Rocket Edition, the smaller section that I connected to the main Red Rocket, and that's what created this area in here, which is the lab area, which has a workable chem station, so you can do all that kind of in-game stuff for chems. But I also wanted to create this other area which gave it the look like you could grow vegetables, food, maybe study that, or also over here we have the food dispenser, so maybe all that is tied in here to this little lab area, which also has this little office here in the back where you can do lab work, I guess. And just off that, we have a little holding pen here for the ghouls. I don't know why, I just thought it'd be cool to put that in there. And that would be accessed through this side door here, which the door doesn't actually open. I just made it look like a door. Otherwise, the ghouls would be opening the door constantly. I can't keep them in there, so I just have to do a fake wall to make it look like a door. So that's why that's there. But you get the idea. And I think it wound up being a pretty cool lab in this little area here, because I know initially when I first started building, I wasn't sure what I was going to put in this area here, and I kind of struggled if it was going to be a weapons area, a power armor work area. But I know I wanted to do and use these windows here on the side and use those for something, and it wound up being this, where it's the little vegetation grow area, and then also the holding pen for the ghouls. This lab area here is that side section of Red Rocket added to the original Red Rocket, which also had an overhang. But then I closed it all in with the junk wall to tie it in with the whole post-war thing, and so it looks like it's meant to be, and also hides all the construction, all the stuff I built inside. It was just a good way to close this all in and make it look like it was meant to be there, as far as the build goes. So the junk wall worked out well just because it is very junky and you can kind of throw up scraps here and there and it all fits. So I think it worked out pretty well. It looks cool. So that's the lab. When we venture out and just off of and across this whole back area here, I like a lot because I like how you come into the Red Rocket, but then there's also this area back here that kind of is separated from the front entrance and also, further away from the main road. And that has these two garages. One would be the Power Armor work area, and then this other garage here, which has, right now like a project car, but two workable garages here. Initially there was just the one, which was going to replace once I closed in that other garage. I wanted to have a workable, garage for the Power Armor. At least that's what the idea was at the beginning. But then I decided to add a secondary garage, and that's why we got two, and then a livable area above. And just off the garage here, we have a little storage shelf storage area, which holds a lot of junk, more junk. And that also leads back here to another little work area just off the back, behind the garage. Nothing special, but just thought it'd be nice to add a little area back here as well. But as you can see, it's a lower-friendly style garage work area for your Power Armor. And then, like I said, over here, we also have the project car work in progress on this side. I think it looks good, and it adds to the layout and the style of this Red Rocket, where you can almost imagine pre-war that this was probably a pretty large Red Rocket where they'd be fixing cars, but also, filling up, recharging cars. And just the normal Red Rocket, but just on a larger scale. So that's kind of the concept I was going with this build, is to make it a larger Red Rocket, more of a flagship store, I guess you would say. Above the garages here, I decided that this person who lives here, whoever that is, one of their hobbies is having his own radio station. Providing some music for the Commonwealth. Not sure how that fits in with the lore, or whether that's, fits in with anything. I just wanted to do it. I think it's mainly because I saw the audio board and I thought, oh, that might be a good idea to use that, turn it into a radio station, do the separated booth thing with the glass wall here. And I had done a radio station before in a build I did in Sanctuary a long time ago. I just did a separate radio station called K-Rad and had fun building that, and thought it might look kind of cool up in this upstairs area here. So that's why I decided to add in the radio station, which has the separated rooms here from the studio to the mixing room where you first come in, and tried to clutter it with as much junk as I could. I think it has a cool look to it, very radio station, wanted to add a bunch of lights and things like that, so I like the way it turned out. Now the outdoor patio just off the radio station, I had built on this a few times actually. There's nothing here now, but I did build a few times and crashed and lost my progress. I'm not sure why this area would always crash, but I gave up after a while. And originally I was going to have, another hangout area here with, chairs and tables to link with the whole radio station thing, and a place to hang out. But that never happened, and we just wound up with this plain patio deck area. And because we got the radio station up there, for good measure to add in this giant antenna pole here to go along with the whole radio theme here. Now that we've seen a lot of the interior, why don't we check out more of the exterior here. So as we continue, just off of when you first come in, here's the location of the original workbench, which it, was at an odd angle. Wasn't able to actually move the workbench. At least wasn't sure what I was going to do with that. I didn't want to cover it up because I still wanted to, be able to access the workbench. So I figured I would build this little side garage, maybe throw this truck in here and load it up with just junk and clutter to maybe camouflage the fact that the workbench is not exactly square with, say the edge of the wall or anything like that. But that's kind of the only option I had, since I was more, building Red Rocket the way I wanted it, and I wasn't as concerned about, what I would do with the workbench. So this was my solution to, try and cover it up, still make it accessible and not make it too obvious that it's at a wonky angle or whatnot. And over here, we have this little pathway leading down into which would be the junkyard area, where maybe, pre-war, this was the area, the yard that they would put the cars they were working on, or maybe, project cars or junk cars, more of a junkyard type thing. So that's kind of what I was thinking with this. So I added in a lot of the junk cars and filled it in with the retaining walls, rock walls, all this stuff just to fit in with the lore Red Rocket rundown look. And this leads around to this area here in the back, which is more, just filled up with junk. And that leads up to this little area up here in back. I figured I'd add in a little hangout area. This cool little area here, just threw that in last minute because I thought it looked cool. It'd be a cool little area to hang out. So that pretty much concludes the walkthrough of the Red Rocket here. Definitely an odd combination of pre-war and post-war. Mostly post-war, with the exception to the interior, which is very pre-war. But who knows? Maybe you could find a way to really fix that up and clean that up and make it look as nice as it is, with maybe things you can find or fix. Who knows? Reality is always out the window in a lot of my builds, so we'll just make do with how it is. So I like the way it turned out. Hope you enjoyed the tour and look forward to the next one. Not sure which one that will be. I got a few builds I'm in the process of completing. I'll probably just jump straight to open houses on those. So hope to see you then. But as far as this one goes, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. And until next time, keep building.